You know, this is going to continue to be a very unpopular channel because I refuse to play the statist game. There's so much hypocrisy and inconsistency involved in being a leftist or a rightist, a Democrat or Republican, team red or team blue. And the psychological engineers have successfully tapped into our tribal mentality to such a point where I don't even think people can see straight anymore. And I say that because, you know, there's so many examples that you can pull up throughout history where members of the state and heads of state, like presidents of the United States, have said a lot of good anti-government things that just ring true throughout history. For example, Ronald Reagan once said,
"I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
And a lot of conservatives applauded that and parroted that and believed that. And it's true. Those are terrifying words. I am from the government. I'm here to help. And why is it terrifying? Because you know it's the exact opposite. They're going to pretend to be your friend. They're going to pretend to do good things. They're going to even pretend to be law-abiding, but they will deprive you of your rights under the color of law at the drop of a hat. That's why it's terrifying. Another element of the terrifying aspect of it is that people will actually believe the government when they say, hey, we're just here to help. We're here to reduce crime in your neighborhood. We're here to get rid of the illegal immigrants. And now they're doing that under ICE. Let me just remind you that ICE is a part of the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security didn't exist before 2003. The Department of Homeland Security, which also includes the blue shirts of the TSA, $9 billion a year for the blue shirts of the TSA that may as well be the brown shirts because they want you to take off your belt, empty your bag, and get rid of all your 3-ounce, liquid products at airports. Take off your shoes, get your laptop out of your bag, and hey, let us shake you down. Go through the x-ray machine. What has happened to us? What happens to you every time you go through an airport? You lose your Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your person. You give it up. You've lost it under, hey, we got to keep everybody safe. We're from the government. We're here to help. And then you find out years later that not only did they not apprehend even one terrorist, which is the reason they said they put this Department of Homeland Security TSA checkpoint in all airports, not only did they not apprehend one terrorist, but the criminals turned out to be the people who applied for and work for the TSA, which is the Department of Homeland Security subset. So it made it worse. We lost our freedoms. We're losing our rights every single day, and they reach deeper into our pockets so they can further fund the Department of Homeland Security, which was spawned by the event that happened in September of 2001. And they drafted that real quick under the Patriot Act, didn't they? So the Department of Homeland Security is not here for your best interests. As a matter of fact, let me just ask you a question. Is it better to free 9 criminals than to cage one innocent man? Isn't it better? And yet we have now Americans getting swept up in the ICE raids that are happening all across the United States, specifically this one right here in Newark, New Jersey. And let me just play you this right here from Fox News. Listen to what they say. Listen to what they applaud.
Wasting no time. And ICE is making nearly 500 arrests in the span of just 33 hours.
And ICE says that here on their own page on Twitter. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement says, enforcement update January 23rd, 2025, 538 arrests. 538 arrests. I think they should take 3 off of that and just make 535 arrests. I'm still waiting for them to go to Washington's District of Criminals and gather up and round up all the corrupt politicians who are taking your rights away and stealing all your wealth and giving it to foreign countries. I'm just waiting for that. But now they're fixated on illegal immigrants. You know, I have a way to solve the illegal immigration problem in the United States, and it does not require beefing up and funding with extra money the federal government. And I'll get to that at the end of this video. 373 detainers lodged. Well, at that rate, it's going to take about 130 years for them to get all the illegal immigrants if they're getting a couple tens of millions. Listen to what Fox News says, though.
New York Post cover, the Iceman cometh. President Trump also signing more executive orders, including one designed to block illegal crossings. And he told Sean Hannity that Joe Biden's failed policies forced him to take
10,000 troops at the border.
Swift action.
Why would somebody say that open borders are good, where jails and mental institutions from other countries and gang members right off the streets of the toughest cities in the world are being brought to the United States of America and emptied out into our country? Why would anybody that even likes, you don't have to love our country, you have to like it. Why would anybody that likes our country, the Democrats, allow that to happen? And even now, I watch them on television, they're trying to justify it. You can't justify it.
The first thing that you should do, though, is not go secure the border. The first thing you should do is change the policies that incentivize these people to go 1, 2, 3,000 miles to cross our border. Take away all of their funding. Take away all of their rights, if that's what you're going to do, instead of putting 10,000 troops at the border. Because you know what that does? It's not just keeping people out. It's keeping you locked in. Remember, this is the guy who wants the visa entry exit biometric tracking system on land, on sea, and on air. They're not just going to focus their sights on illegal immigrants or MS-13. They're going to set their sights on you. They're implementing bold surveillance police state strategies that currently they're saying, oh, we're going to get these illegal immigrants and we're going to get these criminals off of our streets. But that same infrastructure that they're building right now to supposedly go against them is going to go against you. How many times do we have to read in the pages of history that the infrastructure that was set up to supposedly get rid of the criminals was also turned on the people who are the citizens of that country?
So those ICE raids taking place in many parts of the country, including the sanctuary city.
Look at this is a standing army. No American, no conservative American, forget about the liberals. They're out to lunch too, but no conservative American has a problem with these standing armies that we were warned against by the founding fathers. Nobody out there?
City of Boston. That's where Bill Malutian went on an exclusive right along with ICE, and Bill joins us now to tell us what he found and what he saw.
Bill, good morning to you as well. In the early days of this new Trump administration, ICE officials tell me they're taking what they call a worst first approach, meaning they're going to target the worst of the worst criminal alien offenders first.
Do you really believe that? So the government, the U.S. government, a department within the U.S. government and those officials are saying we're going to go after the worst ones first. Are you now, have you turned over a new leaf? Are you now believing the federal government? Oh yeah, they said this, so they must actually mean it. This must be exactly what they're going to do. Do you really believe that? I have a hard time believing that anybody who's sane and rational is now believing the federal government.
Good morning, everyone.
It's a frigid 5 degrees in the pre-dawn hours just outside of Boston, where this team of elite ICE officers is briefing on their targets for the day.
That is a standing army strategizing in a shopping center parking lot in America. Let that sink in. Are you conservatives really okay with that?
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
Within moments, the officers are on the move, with eyes on their first target.
Looks like we got movement, target vehicle coming out.
They quickly take him into custody. He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder.
How do we know that? Who is it? What's his name? They're not going to give his name. They're not going to give us any details on it so we can look it up for ourselves. We just have to believe ICE, who told fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, and we're just left to believe it. Do you really believe that they're telling the truth here? Is this guy maybe this guy's a plant. They're blurring his face. You can't see what he looks like. You can't do any follow-up. There's no investigative journalism because you have no leads. So we're going to actually believe Fox News. We're going to believe CNN. We're going to believe MSNBC.
And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
We are targeting.
Who is it?
Very violent.
Who is it?
Threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
We are targeting very violent threats to our society. What does this sound like, guys? This sounds like the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. They create or co-opt a problem. The problem that they created is this. Both the Republican and the Democrat side of the Washington's District of Criminals created this incentivization program where people want to come across the border so that they can get rewarded. And why wouldn't they? They got a tough way to go in their homeland. So they create a problem, wait for the fear-based reaction. Oh my God, MS-13's on our street. ICE, please come in, take over our streets. Meet in our shopping malls, in the parking lots of our shopping malls. Be the standing armies that our forefathers warned us against. Solution. And then they come in and they arrest all these bad people.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
ICE says he's a gang member? Okay, so now we can see this guy's face. So let's look him up. Let's verify. He's a gang member? What crime did he commit? Who did he victimize? We want all the information all laid out for us so we can do our own research, because guess what, ICE? We don't trust you. Guess what, Department of Homeland Security and TSA, checkpoints? Guess what, Washington's District of Criminals and fake stream media? We don't believe you.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Why would he even say that? Why would you even say that knowing that you're in the Trump administration right now? That sounds like a soundbite that they gave him a script to read so that it would go up on Fox News. Like, oh yeah, get rid of the guy. He wants Obama. He wants Biden. And everybody's all in the left versus right paradigm lie. So they're jumping on board like that. Like it's just as easy as going fishing for bluegill. You got the right bait. You know where to go fishing. You know the fish are biting. Just throw that line and they're going to grab that hook every single time.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery.
How do we know?
This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
How do we know?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies.
Now the government can go, you know what? It's because of us. It's because of ICE. It's because of the Department of Homeland Security. It's because of the TSA at airports that you guys are safe. We're mommy and daddy government. Don't worry, children. We're in the neighborhood to make sure your neighborhoods are safe. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how we can do it. Newark, New Jersey, New York, all these places they're picking up these illegals, they got strict gun laws for their own, let's just call them citizens because they want to be called citizens, for their own constituents. They've got extreme gun laws. Well, guess what? Criminals don't obey gun laws. So what does that do? That empowers two groups of people, the political class, because they're not getting rid of their guns or their security detail, and the criminal class because they don't listen to rules and laws. So when the politicians make a law, it's to the detriment of the law abiders. The criminals are empowered and the law abiders are disempowered, all thanks to the political parasites. Because if a law abider now picks up a gun so that he can defend himself and be a policeman for his neighborhood, so to speak, well, he gets in trouble because the law enforcement agents, there's another class, the law enforcement class will violate your Second Amendment rights because they're going to go with the laws of the politician and not with the, honoring their own oath for the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. So how do you empower people in a neighborhood? You drop all the stupid gun laws and the stupid the red flag law, gun confiscation laws, and all the anti-gun zones, the fish in a barrel zones, the criminal empowerment zones. You drop all that stuff. Those who make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. And now you're actually approving a standing army on American soil. Let me just show you what they're doing right now. And I know that this is left versus right, but I want to try to stay out of that stupid left versus right paradigm. This is from the leftist Daily Beast. Mayor rages as U.S. military vet nabbed in Trump's much hyped ICE raids. A mayor claims immigration and customs enforcement officers arrested a U.S. citizen who served in the military during a raid just days into President Donald Trump's promised mass deportation operation. The ICE officers also didn't have a warrant during the raid in Newark, New Jersey, In plain violation of the Fourth Amendment, that would be a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You're supposed to be secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Probable cause of what? That a crime has been committed, which means that you left a real victim. You can't just go willy-nilly breaking into restaurants. And in this case, it was some kind of seafood restaurant or something. About 10 or 12 ICE agents raided a seafood wholesaler and restaurant on Thursday and arrested 3 people, including the Puerto Rican warehouse manager, Ocean Food Depot owner, this guy right here, who told the news that Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. And this guy says, the owner of this restaurant says, I asked the agents what documentation they were looking for, and they said it was a license or a passport. I thought, who walks around with a passport? Good point. One of the guys was a military veteran, and the way he looked to me was because he was Hispanic. He is Puerto Rican and the manager of our warehouse, he said. It looked to me like they were specifically going after certain kinds of people. This mayor slammed the operation as egregious in his town. Listen to this. This is crazy. He says, one of the detainees is a U.S. military veteran who suffered the indignity of having the legitimacy of his military documentation questioned. Newark will not stand by idly while people are being unlawfully terrorized. Well, guess what, Mayor? The people of Newark and New York and all those eastern seaboard states are being constantly terrorized by you, the political parasitic class, and the law enforcement class, just through gun laws, let alone your own violation of your citizens. Of the Fourth Amendment. It says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement may encounter U.S. citizens while conducting field work. This right here is from a spokesperson from ICE. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement may encounter U.S. citizens while conducting field work and may request identification to establish an individual's identity. In other words, we as ICE employees, we as federal employees, we as the standing army will request your identification. You've got to give it. In violation of the Fourth Amendment. We're here to make you insecure in your person's houses, papers, and effect because of public safety. Because we want to make your community safe and secure. You want safe and secure communities, don't you? Well, then come up with your ID. Make yourself insecure in your person. This is such hypocrisy. As was the case during the targeted enforcement operation at a work site today in Newark. Hypocrite Cory Booker says, we are deeply concerned about the news of an ICE raid in Newark today. Our offices have reached out to the Department of Homeland Security to demand answers. Actions like this one sow fear in all of our community. You're no stranger to that, Cory Booker. You sow fear into communities by making things against the law and making honest, hardworking people criminals because you just passed another law that, number one, criminalizes them, takes away their rights, and then reaches into their pocket so that law can be propagated. We will continue to work with this mayor and other local officials to gather more information to ensure all New Jerseyans are safe and their dignity and rights are protected. Cory Booker, who doesn't care about rights. Look at this. Like all law enforcement, the courts have held that ICE officers are bound by the Constitution's Fourth Amendment prohibition on unreasonable searches and seizures. ICE officers cannot enter private property, including employee-only areas and businesses, without a valid search warrant signed by a judge. They must have probable cause of a crime to arrest. They always forget that you got to have probable cause. Probable cause of what? Let's be specific. Probable cause that a crime has been committed. It has to be beyond reasonable, articulable suspicion, as outlined in Terry v. Ohio. ICE's own website says everyone is entitled to due process and that it focuses on removing criminals and public safety threats. Yeah, so we're going to remove those criminals and public safety threats in the name of demolishing your rights, or we're going to demolish your rights in the name of public safety. Either way, that's exactly what ICE is doing. And I see some very dishonest reporting going on here because this has nothing to do with left politics or right politics. This has to do with standing armies taking away your rights in the name of public safety. But the safety of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting shirt like this one right here, protecting and serving the holy you-know-what out of you. Become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are and stand for your rights, because if you don't stand for your rights, if you don't flex your rights, you will lose those rights. I will see you in the next video.